Welcome to the Empowerment Hour. I'm your host, Joss Blake, and today we're diving deep into one of the most pressing issues of our time. Picture this. A woman leaves a prestigious graduate program, not because she's not smart enough, but because the pressure is crushing her. She finds peace working at a dog kennel. An Alabama elementary school teacher, celebrated as a saint for her unwavering dedication despite dwindling resources, finally throws in the towel to save her own sanity. A mother tells her therapist she feels like nothing more than a walking to-do list. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of an epidemic that's quietly reshaping how an entire generation experiences work, life, and meaning. Today, we're going to unpack the complex world of burnout. Not just what it is, but why it happens, how to recognize it, and most importantly, how to beat it. If you're searching for real tools to navigate a world that never seems to slow down, you're in the right place. And for even more practical wisdom on resilience, productivity, and well-being, check out Skoob, the AI-powered podcast app with access to over 1,500 curated episodes built on the best resources around the globe. Whether you want decision-making insights, stress management strategies, or new ways to reclaim meaning at work, Skoob delivers personalized podcasts in quick, binge-worthy formats. Download the app from the App Store or Play Store and take your next step toward understanding and outsmarting burnout. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Millennials have earned the dubious honor of being called the Burnout Generation. But before you roll your eyes and think this is another generational blame game, hear me out. This isn't about avocado toast or participation trophies. It's about a perfect storm of unprecedented challenges that would test anyone's resilience. Unlike previous generations who faced clearly defined adversities like the Great Depression or World Wars, millennials navigate a landscape of chronic, low-grade stress that's harder to identify, but equally destructive. Yes, we have scientific advancements and modern medicine that previous generations could only dream of. But these improvements exist against a backdrop of financial instability and shifting economic prospects that have fundamentally altered life trajectories. Think about it. While not engaged in globally defining wars, millennials have lived through what feel like forever wars, prolonged military engagements that seem perpetual and increasingly unpopular. These conflicts have eroded trust in institutions for those who see military service as their path to stable livelihoods. Add to that the looming specter of climate change, an existential crisis demanding unprecedented collective action across generations and nations. It creates a constant sense of urgency and responsibility that can feel overwhelming on even the best days. Here's what's particularly insidious. Despite living in a society that offers impressive technological and cultural achievements, there's this nagging sensation among millennials that their maximum potential has been stifled. Yet they keep pushing forward, driven by societal conditioning that ties self-worth directly to achievement and productivity. For many millennials, burnout isn't just an occasional rough patch. It's become a foundational element of their identity, influencing their worldview and daily lives. It's not episodic, it's chronic. This collective experience hit a nerve when an essay about millennial burnout was published online, resonating with over 7 million readers. Why? Because it gave voice to something an entire generation was feeling but couldn't quite articulate. The thousands of detailed, heartfelt emails that flooded in afterward revealed that the author had tapped into a shared sentiment that had been festering without proper language to describe it. Now that we understand the broader context, let's get personal. Burnout doesn't discriminate, but it does have patterns. There are 3 primary mindsets that create perfect breeding grounds for burnout, and chances are you'll recognize yourself in at least one of them. First, we have the high-achieving mindset. These are the people who push themselves relentlessly in pursuit of success. Their self-worth is intrinsically tied to accomplishments. They equate personal value with successful performance and achieving socially recognized forms of success like lucrative careers, prestigious job titles, or other symbols of status and power. Then there's the people-pleasing mindset. These individuals find it nearly impossible to assert their own needs and establish healthy boundaries. They're the ones saying yes when they mean no, constantly prioritizing others' comfort over their own well-being. Finally, we have the self-victimizing mindset. People caught in this pattern feel overwhelmed and resigned to their circumstances. They often feel powerless to change their situation, trapped in a cycle of helplessness that ironically creates the very burnout they're trying to escape. Here's the kicker. You can be wrestling with more than one of these mindsets simultaneously. Each requires unique management strategies, but awareness is the first step to freedom. Let's zoom in on the high-achieving mindset because it's particularly relevant in our achievement-obsessed culture. High achievers often have backgrounds where performance was the price of admission to love and validation. Academic success was rewarded, less successful efforts were criticized. Sound familiar? These individuals are typically configured to excel. They're system-oriented, strategically planned, and incredibly driven. While this can propel them to become doctors, Olympians, or technological pioneers, it comes with hidden costs that only become apparent when it's almost too late. High-achieving individuals often struggle in collaborative settings because they're so used to controlling outcomes. They foster a belief that they should perpetually aim for more, resulting in unattainable work output levels and dissatisfaction with even significant achievements. They set impossibly high standards by constantly comparing themselves to the most successful people in their circles. Here's what's heartbreaking. High achievers often express feeling completely lost outside their professional roles. They're the ones staying at their desks until midnight, receiving continuous praise from colleagues, seemingly fulfilled through their accomplishments. But behind this facade, they're quietly longing for balance, lamenting missed family time, compromised health, lost interests, and an absence of hobbies. I used to be trapped in this exact pattern. I felt compelled to finish every book I began, regardless of enjoyment, equating completion with some misplaced measure of productivity. I remember slogging through Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, which felt more like punishment than enlightenment. It was consuming valuable time unproductively. Everything changed when I chose to read for personal enjoyment rather than obligation or societal approval. I discovered true pleasure in reading by exploring genres like hockey-themed romances, content that may not confer social prestige but provides significant personal happiness. This shift to non-productive, delight-driven practices made reading genuinely gratifying again. The lesson? For high achievers, finding satisfaction sources that don't need to be productive or celebrated by others can bring immense joy. Engaging in personal interests without the pressure of accomplishment or acknowledgement is valuable in itself. So how do you know when you're sliding into burnout territory? It often starts with that moment. Maybe you're knee-deep in a project or nearing completion where you find yourself thinking, I can't do this anymore. I remember during labor with my first son, around the 24th hour, I distinctly remember uttering those exact words. I felt completely tapped out, but there was no option of turning back. Burnout in creative endeavors feels remarkably similar. You might have invested too much to simply walk away, yet you experience a strong urge to quit. Understanding the origins of your burnout is crucial. Reflect honestly. How long have these feelings persisted? Has this feeling gradually intensified over time, or did you suddenly feel compelled to throw up your hands in defeat? Most importantly, pinpoint the core emotion fueling your burnout. Are you bored or are you overwhelmed? Both can indicate burnout, but identifying the precise emotions helps you address them more effectively. Several key factors typically contribute to burnout. First, examine your lifestyle. Have you been neglecting self-care? Are you constantly occupied with work or caring for others while overlooking your own needs? Consider your sleep. Are you getting enough, and what truly constitutes enough for you? Look at your diet. Are you nourishing your body or constantly reaching for unhealthy quick fixes? Many people burn the candle at both ends without contemplating the consequences until they're already burnt out. Being enmeshed in emotionally taxing situations significantly contributes to burnout too, like trying to work on creative projects while navigating personal turbulence such as divorce, illness, or other dramatic life events. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Burnout actually stifles creativity. As Ariana Huffington astutely pointed out, we are undermining ourselves and our own effectiveness by buying into the myth, the collective delusion, that burnout is the way to succeed. It's not. Another major factor is simply taking on too much. The entire creative process, from generating ideas and allowing them to incubate to experimenting, analyzing, and implementing, demands rigorous mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual resources. Overextending any of these areas can result in burnout. And let's talk about information overload. Back in 2015, the typical corporate worker was expected to send and receive 125 emails each day. Beyond emails, the continuous use of computers, phones, text messages, radio, and television substantially increases our media influx. Research shows media consumption by individuals soared to 6.9 zettabytes. That's 6.9 million gigabytes. And this study didn't even account for media consumption at work. It's a classic case of too much of a good thing becoming overwhelming. If these stats hit a little too close to home, you're not alone, and you're not powerless. For more tools to filter the noise, take back your time, and reconnect with what actually matters. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. We're here to help you clear the digital fog and find breathing room again. Now let's bust a myth that's probably costing you more stress than relief. The idea that vacations are a magic bullet for burnout. Don't get me wrong. Strategic breaks are absolutely crucial. Just like elite athlete Bernard Lagat, who takes a 5-week hiatus after his competitive season ends rather than in the middle of it, timing matters enormously. Musicians might plan breaks after rigorous tours, artists after gallery openings, and business professionals after major project completions. Research consistently shows that breaks lasting 7 to 10 days positively impact motivation, well-being, and health, with effects persisting for up to a month. Even a week-long vacation can diminish, if not entirely eradicate, burnout symptoms. But here's the crucial caveat. If the conditions that initially caused burnout aren't addressed, symptoms will resurface within weeks of returning. This knowledge challenges the common belief that extended breaks are miraculous solutions for people with unsustainable workloads who will somehow return rejuvenated. It's more productive to view vacations as one component of a comprehensive rest strategy that includes mini breaks, quality sleep, and regular off days. Vacations aren't the main course. They're the icing on the cake, providing opportunities to regroup after stress accumulation. Think of it this way. When Lagat concludes a season, he experiences fatigue but remains unbroken. Fatigue can serve as a catalyst for growth, whereas being broken indicates a need for repair. The goal is strategic rest that prevents breaking. For optimal performance, regardless of your work type, take at least one off day every week. Time these carefully to follow periods of considerable stress. The greater the stress, the more rest becomes necessary. Whether you're taking a single day off or an extended vacation, genuine disconnection from work is crucial. This means unplugging both physically and mentally and engaging in genuinely relaxing and restorative activities. But what if you're in a situation where taking a significant break simply isn't possible? Maybe you're an athlete months before Olympic trials, or a working professional who can't afford prolonged absence. Stepping away completely might even lead to permanent disconnection from your commitments. This is where behavioral science offers us a fascinating alternative called give back to get back. Instead of distancing yourself from work while experiencing burnout, this approach suggests engaging deeper, but from a more altruistic perspective. The strategy involves giving back to your community or field through mentoring, volunteering, or other service activities. Engaging in acts of helping others stimulates the brain's reward and pleasure centers, fostering satisfaction and reigniting passion for your work. This process often revitalizes energy and motivation in ways that time off alone cannot achieve. Studies from education and healthcare demonstrate that giving back significantly mitigates burnout's effects. Even though teaching and nursing are inherently service-oriented, daily routines can make professionals feel insignificant within larger, often inefficient systems. However, direct, meaningful engagements where they can witness tangible results effectively reduce burnout feelings. Let me share a powerful example. Before Adam Grant became a renowned author and distinguished professor, he was a competitive diver who achieved All-America honors in high school and dove collegiately at Harvard. During his senior year, despite training 9 hours daily during the summer and reaching peak physical condition, Grant experienced devastating burnout. At a pivotal meet that was supposed to be the culmination of 4 years of devotion, Grant's performance faltered unexpectedly. He failed his dives and lost to competitors he had beaten numerous times before. He described descending into such gloom that he felt averse to ever returning to the diving board. This experience illustrates the profound impact of burnout, but also highlights the importance of finding meaningful ways to re-engage with our passions. By helping others, we don't just alleviate burnout symptoms, we can reawaken deep-seated drive and commitment to our pursuits. The key insight is that a sense of enduring impact can safeguard against stress and fatigue. Finding intimate opportunities to contribute positively to others' lives provides the meaning and connection that pure achievement often lacks. Now let's talk about a practical framework I call Burnout Jenga. Just like the game where you carefully remove blocks without toppling the tower, managing burnout involves identifying which elements in your life can be shifted or altered to enhance your experience and reduce stress. Let me tell you about Bill, whose commitment to his bustling business was taking a serious toll on his health and personal life. Instead of making dramatic changes all at once, Bill identified specific blocks he could move in his Burnout Jenga tower. First, Bill addressed stress management directly. He began concluding each day with what he called a tangible versus intangible list. This simple practice helped him distinguish tasks that actually required completion from abstract worries, dramatically reducing the time he spent spinning his wheels over intangible concerns. Next, he worked on his mindset. Bill recognized the importance of not internalizing every workplace stress, training himself to avoid intense emotional reactions to minor issues. This wasn't about becoming indifferent. It was about maintaining perspective. Bill also adjusted his boundaries by instilling more trust in his employees. Instead of micromanaging, he gave them autonomy over their tasks. This single change relieved him from constant oversight while empowering his team. Time management was another crucial area. Bill had to face the reality that each day contains only 24 hours. To free up weekends for his relationship and self-care, he began declining new opportunities. Yes, they could be financially beneficial, but they would also overburden his already stretched business operations. These changes helped Bill eliminate destructive habits that had become second nature. With adequate sleep, he no longer needed daily energy drinks, breaking the cycle of artificial energy spikes and crashes. Trusting his employees eliminated late-night work reviews. Prioritizing weekend golf with his husband gave him essential recovery time to relax, decrease cortisol levels and blood pressure, and remember why life is worth living. The beauty of the Jenga method is that it's not uniform. You explore possibilities based on which parts of your burnout Jenga you can modify. Stress management isn't a set-and-forget tool. It demands continual adjustment. You might master these techniques during one phase of life, then struggle to maintain them when circumstances change again. For sudden stress, think of stress band-aids, quick interventions that provide respite to regroup before acting. In short-term stressful situations, create space to acknowledge facts, emotions, and narratives. Correct thoughts that exacerbate stress, compartmentalize to contain it, and separate genuine emergencies from situations that simply require a different approach. For long-term stressors, evaluate whether you can lighten your load, pursue external assistance, seek professional support, or take strategic breaks. Always ask, which elements in my burnout Jenga can be adjusted? Don't rely solely on memory. Make notes of useful tools and keep them accessible. Inform people in your life so they can remind you when stress heightens. The goal is building a robust arsenal of strategies that becomes instinctual during overwhelming periods. Let's shift gears and talk about a type of burnout that's particularly relevant in our hyper-connected world: social burnout. This manifests when project deadlines make it challenging to prepare proper meals, when you sacrifice sleep to scroll through your phone for comfort, or when you attend social events despite exhaustion because you fear missing out. A recent Finnish study revealed that women with significant burnout levels are less inclined to consume healthy, nutrient-rich foods. This makes perfect sense. When we're stressed, we reach for comfort food, which rarely means salads. Research also shows that people exhibiting burnout signs experience inferior sleep quality, which ironically increases the risk of further burnout. This creates a vicious cycle. Prioritizing social engagements over vital survival needs amplifies stress. It's like trying to move forward with the horse behind the cart. Maslow's hierarchy of needs places social requirements secondary to physiological necessities for good reason. It's like the airline safety instruction to fit your own oxygen mask before assisting others. A significant cultural phenomenon fueling social burnout is FOMO, the fear of missing out. Unlike people who reluctantly attend events out of obligation, those suffering from FOMO feel strong inner pressure to participate in every single opportunity. While this enthusiasm might seem endearing, the relentless drive to be omnipresent can be genuinely detrimental. Research reveals two primary elements in FOMO: a feeling of exclusion and a resultant compulsion to participate in activities to prevent being left out. This might manifest as sacrificing sleep to attend social outings or staying current with popular series because of workplace conversations. This instinct is deeply rooted in human evolution. Being part of a group historically guaranteed safety and survival. Neural connections in our brain associate lack of inclusion with potential threats, triggering responses that push us to maintain community ties. In our digitally connected era, FOMO has escalated dramatically. We perceive high stakes in missing social gatherings or professional events, but the reality often differs from these perceptions. Missing one brunch or networking opportunity seldom leads to dire consequences. Counter FOMO. By recollecting past instances when skipping social engagements went without significant fallout. Adopting a more selective approach to social commitments can substantially help manage burnout. Gain insight into your personal preferences. Are intimate coffee meetings more fulfilling than bustling parties? Are face-to-face networking events more beneficial than virtual ones? Would attending family gatherings less frequently but more meaningfully enhance the experience? Communication is crucial here. Consider this approach when addressing friends during burnout periods. I'm telling you this because I care about our relationship and don't want to grow distant without reason. I'm currently overwhelmed and can only engage at a 4 out of 10 effort level for the foreseeable future. While I hope to respond to messages and meet occasionally, it's all I can manage right now. I anticipate balancing things out by a specific time frame, but until then, I hope you can accept my 4 out of 10. Social burnout often stems from self-imposed pressure to maintain full effort across all relationships constantly. Generally, solid foundations with meaningful people will allow relationships to withstand moments when scaling back is necessary. If they don't, well, there's always room for re-evaluating those boundaries. As we wrap up today's journey through the landscape of burnout, let's revisit where we started. Remember that mother who felt like a walking to-do list? The graduate student who found peace at a dog kennel? The dedicated teacher who had to choose her sanity over her calling? These stories aren't cautionary tales. They're wake-up calls. They remind us that burnout isn't a personal failing or a sign of weakness. It's a systemic issue that requires systematic solutions. The most important insight from our exploration today is this: burnout is not inevitable, and it's certainly not permanent. Whether you're caught in the high-achieving mindset, struggling with people-pleasing tendencies, or feeling victimized by circumstances, there are concrete steps you can take to reclaim your life. Start by examining your self-talk. When mistakes happen, and they will, shift away from reflexively judgmental reactions. Embrace simple, calming affirmations. This is not a big deal, I can fix it. Or, mistakes are a natural part of the journey. This gentler internal dialogue creates space for better problem solving and actual growth. Remember that the 3 burnout mindsets we discussed aren't life sentences. They're patterns that developed over time and can be unlearned with patience and practice. The high achiever can learn to value rest and relationships. The people pleaser can discover the power of boundaries. The person feeling victimized can reclaim their agency. Use the tools we've explored, strategic breaks that actually address underlying causes, the give back to get back approach when traditional rest isn't possible, the Jenga method for systematic stress management, and mindful social engagement that honors your authentic needs. Most importantly, recognize that managing burnout isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing practice. You might master these techniques during one phase of life, then need to relearn them when circumstances change. That's not failure. That's being human. The goal isn't to eliminate all stress from your life. Some stress drives growth and achievement. The goal is to find sustainable ways to pursue your dreams, serve others, and build meaningful relationships without sacrificing your fundamental well-being. As we navigate this complex world together, remember that asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. Taking breaks isn't lazy, it's strategic. And most importantly, you deserve a life that feels fulfilling rather than simply productive. The conversation about burnout that resonated with 7 million people happened because it gave voice to shared struggles. Today, I hope we've not only validated those struggles, but provided practical pathways forward. Because ultimately, beating burnout isn't just about feeling better. It's about creating space for the life you actually want to live. Take care of yourselves out there. And remember, you're not just surviving this. You're learning to thrive through it. Thanks for joining me today on Beat Burnout. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves and remember, your well-being matters. And if you want more insights and practical tools to nurture your mind, body, and spirit, check out Skoob, the AI-powered podcast app offering over 1,500 curated episodes on wellness, resilience, and personal growth. Download Skoob from the App Store or Play Store and keep taking care of yourself, because you deserve it. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves and remember, your well-being matters.